that obviously, that sending off very early doors in the second half did change the complexion of the game. Not that Forest really created too much, but it just added a little pressure to Manchester City, who had been so comfortable in the first half, Casca. They were 2-0 up in 14 minutes. Yeah. But the red card obviously is a big talking point. And Pep Guardiola did speak about the red card and said, look, Rodri has to control himself and his emotions. He said, because I can get a yellow card, he says, because I don't play. But Rodri can't. You have to be careful. I said at half-time, be careful, guys. The last 2 minutes, the game has been in a position where we are comfortable. So relax. Control your emotions. Unfortunately, Rodri didn't. And that sums it up perfectly, because he didn't. And he did put his arms or his hands around Morgan Gibbs-White's throat, which is essentially why he is sent off for violent conduct. But I can also totally understand where Gabriel Bonlahor is coming from with the reaction from Morgan Gibbs-White, because it was so theatrical and delayed as well. It wasn't as if it was all in the same moment. It took him you felt it took him a moment to go, oh, I better go down because I've got to show that I've been hurt.
Yeah. Look, there used to be a period of time when you sort of, it was part of the game to stand there and be tough, be seen to be, no nonsense, wouldn't roll around on the pitch. And now we're in a different place where players will exaggerate, be theatrical, anything, all what you're saying now. Does it drive me mad? Yes. Should Rodri have done it? Not really. No. I do think it's a bit harsh for a red card that,
but you
lifting
can't put your
arms.
hands.
No, I know.
You can't put your hands around someone's neck. That is a red card all day long. But I just... And look, there's no argument about that, but I just feel as though, wasn't there a talk once that we were going to clamp down on simulation and all this sort of cheating?
Oh, no
within
chance
the game?
in a minute.
I'm not, and listen, I'm not necessarily I don't want to single out Morgan Gibbs-White, because lots of players do it up and down the land as such. But I just felt that when I saw that incident, I just thought, oh, come on. We already know VAR are going to check it. You already know that they're going to probably give a red card because of the physical contact from Rodri. You don't need to react like that.
No. I find it hard. What do I say? I played in the 80s and I played in the 90s. I got strangled probably more than 7-8 times in my career. Someone had their hand around my neck. At that time, it wasn't given as red. It would be pushed away and we would separate. And, but I had it. And now we're in a different era of the game. And today's game is refereed differently. And I just think the red card is such a huge punishment to go to 10. It's not a punishment to Man City. That's the only thing. They could go down to 9 and probably still not lose the game. They keep the ball so well. They've all got great technical players. They were so comfortable for 30 minutes in this game. It was going to be 4 or 5. All it did was stop it being 4 or 5 and going to 10 men.
Yeah. And that's where they have been formidable, Manchester City, this season. And we've talked about it before. It's not like every game they've been sublime.
No,
they've been so superior. But you feel as though they're clearly not reaching maximum gear, or maximum thrust, whatever you want to say, which is obviously very ominous and very worrying for everybody else, because they're still winning games.
Yeah, they are. And I think they've gone one defeat in 37 games. I think it's 37, something like that.
I wonder who beat
Yes. They've just... So you look at... You think, well, that's a lot of games. OK, there's Champions League football, there's cup competition football in there, and you could... Well, I'm including the Arsenal defeat because they lost in the Community Shield. They lost on penalties. So I don't really count that as a defeat because I'm talking about as in game time. So you could add in that Arsenal beat them via penalties in the Community Shield. But generally, this is a team you're not going to beat. This is a hard side. To think that they've got John Stones out, they've got Kevin De Bruyne out, Bernardo Silva out, and then they've had Jack Grealish out, and you can go on. Now they're going to lose Rodri. Will it make any difference? Well, yeah, he's a great player for them. No, they'll still win games. Thinking Rodri being out that team is going to make Man City go on a bad run. I don't think they're the only team. I think one or two players coming out of the team, they still don't go on a bad run.
Does that mean this is a good opportunity for someone like a Calvin Phillips with Rodri now suspended?
He'll probably come in and do terrific. Why wouldn't he? He's in a great side. He'd just do his job. He came in with England, over the international break, slipped in alongside Declan Rice. Looked like he was the player at Leeds. I just don't see that being an issue.
Of course, there are some key games coming up that Rodri will miss, most notably Arsenal. at the Emirates.
Unfortunately, Arsenal were on the wrong end of a 4-1 defeat and a 3-1 defeat last season. Are Arsenal a better team this year? Yes, I think they are. They've got more about them. But it's still having to get over the hurdle of beating Manchester City. Because last year, you know, when they were in the run-in, City done a job on them twice. Once at the Emirates and once at the Etihad. That's something that Arteta, obviously with some of the decisions he's making, who he's brought in, Declan Rice and others to the team to improve it, because he knows they have to go up a notch, Arsenal, which will be really interesting to see how they get on against Man City. Even with no De Bruyne, whether John Stones is there, whether, you know, obviously Rodri being suspended, that City team can handle a hell of a lot of things happening to them and still win games.
Yeah. Certainly so. They have got Newcastle in the League Cup, followed by Wolves away. Then they've got Champions League action before that trip, as I mentioned, to Arsenal in October. But it was a win, ultimately, for Manchester City, who remain top of the table as a result. 6 wins out of 6. Mightily impressive. There are a whole host of games taking place today, but currently they are 5 points clear at the top of the table. Is it game over already, Gas?
Well, just today's game, Arsenal taking Tottenham on in the league. So one of them's going to drop points to, or maybe both. Maybe both drop 2 points, and if it's a draw, they're setting a very high bar at the moment, and they don't look like they're in really much more than second gear.